namaku adalah Larissa Rochefort.
fans right here
That's
who
right.
want to watch the grand final of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Like you said before, Brenda, we have a very, very interesting match right
That's
now
right.
because we have Team Indonesia versus Team Philippines back at the Earth stage.
Yes, but before we are going to see the match for today, I would like to share some information that you can watch the whole of match today through the platforms. There has Twitch. It's at Iesf_TV6,
and then
YouTube at PBSI. And also,
nice!
Yeah!
Wow! Alright!
Yeah! That's the spirits, bro!
Because this is the grand final, we need to feel the hype.
That's right!
We are very excited to see who will be the winner and the champion of the grand final of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. So, without further ado, let's invite both teams who are going to have their matches today.
Yes, so
please welcome Team Indonesia and Team Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome both teams, Team Indonesia and Team Philippines. Of course, Brenda, both of the teams will have their fierce battle right now.
Yeah, and I believe you cannot wait to see who will be the winner and the champion of Mobile Legends Bang Bang on ISF 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022!
Exactly! Can I hear if you guys rooting for Philippines?
Yeah! And give it up to supporter of Indonesia!
Of course, may the best team win this battle right here, right now.
That's right.
Because Indonesia and also Philippines have their biggest rivalry ever. Like, they always meet together, they always fight together, and they always show their best every time they have their matches.
Yeah, and without any further ado,
Okay.
let's pass this session to our casters.
We have Arashi Cash and also Mirko right there. Hi, Arashi and Mirko, are you guys ready?
Are you ready? Give some noise, casters!
All right, because they are ready, we are ready. All those teams are ready. Are you guys ready? All right, let's pass it on to our caster, Arashi and Mirko. Take it away.
Take it away!
The two titans of Mlbb collide once again in the grand finals of ISF World Esports Championship 2022. Welcome to the caster desk. I am Mirko, joined here by Arashi on the left, and we'll be bringing you the games for this grand final match. And Arashi, how you feeling?
I am feel, man. I am very feel.
Man, coming into this matchup though, Arashi, it's two titans colliding. It's like we've seen these two teams, Indonesia and Philippines, many times before.
This is absolutely a heated rivalry, and both these teams have something at stake right here. But before we get into the fun stuff, we need to bit of a message here, Mirko.
Bit of a message to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Iesf 14th World Esports Championships Bali 2022 is supported by wonderful Indonesia, Kemenpora, NOC, and KONI. We would also like to give a massive thanks to all of our sponsors, with our main sponsor being JHL Group. We're also sponsored by JHL Auto, NusaPay, DES, and we also have Gudang Crypto, Taiwan Excellence, Pertamina, Hydro Coco, Plosa, Sofel, and Antis. We also have our official telco partner, Telkomsel, our official smartphone partner, the Samsung Galaxy A series, with our official logistics partner, Central Cargo and Huawei Cloud. And we also have our internet service provider partner, Arashi, which is IndiHome, and our travel management partner, HIN.
With our hotel partners, Episode Hotel and Merusaka Hotel, our amazing, beautiful venue right here. And of course, our esports broadcast partners, Mineski Global, Indonesian Football E-League, ESID, our production partner, Lemon ID, and of course, all in conjunction with some support from our media partners as well. Trans7, we have Deticom, esport.id, video.com, Dunia Games, Dance TV, Dance Play, Merah Putih, Bola Score, and Kami Bijak.
Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping this event get to a point where it is today. You know, the Iesf 2022 World Esports Championships has been absolutely phenomenal, Rashi. But again, our focus right now is on the brackets. With playoff brackets looking as intense as it is here, Rashi, with Indonesia getting all the way to the upper brackets, winning, and up against Cambodia, securing the first grand final slot with that 1 point lead, up against Philippines, who were knocked down by Indonesia, but has since never lost a single game up until the grand finals right now.
Straight clean sweeps from the Philippines, and this is the question here. Can they replicate the same kind of success for the grand finals? Because both teams, they have really good ways to capitalize on those momentum.
It's strange, Arashi. It really is, right? You look at Philippines, especially after their first match up against Indonesia, and there were a lot of doubts circulating for Philippines. But ever since, it's just like they went through a whole anime arc. They're coming back again in the grand finals up against Indonesia, who are right now sitting with that 1 point lead. And I would say it's a pretty comfortable lead, starting in a best of 5 with 1 point.
It's definitely something that the Philippines need to consider, even though we all know that the Philippines are very comfortable playing from that lower bracket. Here we take a look at the player head-to-head though for Taz and Del Rosario. So far, Taz is the more aggressive, the more dynamic player, but of course Del Rosario on those utility junglers, an absolute menace. And of course both players will be going head-to-head on that retribution battles.
It's also, like you mentioned, the different styles that come to play for both Taz and Del Rosario. And also, the difference in experience, Arashi, from both of these players, Taz and Del Rosario, with Taz being somewhat of a rookie here in the international stage, and with Del Rosario being the veteran he is. Player spotlight here will go to Brands in the gold lane for Indonesia. Has had a stellar performance so far in this tournament on a lot of different heroes.
Well, he is known as the king of the marksman for a reason, and if he is not shut down in this match, it might be a big problem for the Philippines. So we'll have to see the early game rotations, the game plan, which lane will be prioritized by both these teams to ensure that in the mid...
Berat pikiran. Plosa Citrus, daya semangat alam. Hisap, segarnya menembus kepala. Pikiran enteng dan lega. Plosa bisa kerok dan pijat. Masuk angin, mantap. Plosa Citrus.
And let's take a flashback. Let's actually talk a little bit about that, because the two members that gave Philippines problems were, again, that gold lane, or that Brands, starting it off in the gold lane, carrying the team, Indonesia, in that late stage. But who started it off? It was Saikots in the XP lane.
On the Yuzong as well. That seems to be his most active hero. So we have to see, will the Philippines tempt the Indonesians and let them use that Yuzong again, or will they have a different composition right here? Because we've seen that the Philippines, they really enjoy going for that long-range strategy, and the Indonesians, they have no issue at all going for that aggressive style, diving towards your back line.
Well, honestly, we take a look at their styles. even though in terms of the gameplay and in terms of how they like to rotate around the map, it's quite different, I do want to point out that there's a heavy emphasis on the side laners for both Philippines and Indonesia. Indonesia playing around brands a whole lot, especially in that later stage of the game. But even from the get-go, they want to get brands ahead. Same thing goes for the Philippines with Soriano having amazing games in the last lower bracket match up against Cambodia.
That's the scary part right here. These laners can capitalize so hard on small leads, and it all comes down to the drafting phase. We see here Coach Zace on the screen. He will be in charge of formulating a game plan, a strategy that can ensure that the Philippines actually get shut down in the early game and Indonesia can have a strong, aggressive play that they would prefer.
All right. Here you can see in the crowd, Arashi, they're hyped, man. Everyone is hyped for this matchup. And we need to talk a little bit about this matchup, Arashi, because it really feels like with the gritty veterans in the Philippines, with them having so many achievements to their name up against a relatively younger squad from Indonesia, it feels like a revolution. The new blood of Indonesia up against the monarchs from the Philippines.
You can say it's a rebellion from the Indonesians. They want to ensure that the reign, the dynasty of the Philippines will actually end right here, right now, in today's match. And we'll have to see, can they succeed? Because honestly, it's going to be a very, very tough test, even though they do have that small lead.
It's home turf as well from Indonesia, Arashi. Let's talk a little bit about that. Home turf, how much does it play a part in the game? How much does it impact the players? With so much support right now from Indonesia, you know what? I might actually want to hear them roar, but we'll talk a little bit about that first, Arashi. What do you think about the home turf?
Well, once they start roaring, we're going to have some difficulties here in the casting desk because we can barely hear ourselves. The supporters have been absolutely insane, and that plays towards that mental aspect, right? But for the Philippines, like you mentioned, these are not new players. These are players with a lot of achievements and a lot of experience being on the away team. Having the audience go against them, it's no surprise to them at all. And that's why it just comes down to the execution in the game.
The players are getting ready for both Philippines and Indonesia. But while we're waiting, we have a crowd here for a reason. Indonesia, let me hear you! Woo. We have a lot of support from Indonesia, but we've also have a lot of support for the Philippines. And for the Philippines, the supporters, where are y'all at? A lot of support for both, Arashi. Who won the battle, though?
Well, I think it's pretty even, I must say. Let's go with that. So soon, what do you think you can expect from the drafting phase, though, Mirko? Are we going to see a lot of curveballs? Because both these teams, they for sure have done their homework. They've studied a lot, and going straight into the drafting phase, take a look right here. Joy digging, Fanny and Kaja, and also that Atlas.
We saw what Joy could do in the hands of the Padap yesterday for Philippines, so I don't think we're going to see it here today. Indonesia on the red side, Philippines on the blue. First pick potential for them right now. And you can already see, it's Indonesia going for the normal strat that they've been doing so far in this tournament, right? With the Diggy Band, they really like going for those aggressive roamers for Dream to look for those crazy team fights. That's what Indonesia is built around. Crazy skirmishes all around the map to coin flip their lead back or to use their lead to get an even bigger one.
And talking about the aggressive playstyle, the Philippines have banned out very good heroes here that that Indonesians can use to snowball, but they're leaving out that signature Yuzong. And in addition to that, they still have to be wary about the Kadita pick that can potentially come into the hands of Dream.
1-1 becomes the final ban in the first phase for Indonesia. Ooh. That's the special hero for special man, the Padap, Agent Zero, getting that Benedetta that's usually been banned here in Iesf.
I think Indonesia don't really want to go up against it, but they don't really have a choice. The Philippines have so many other heroes in their arsenal that Indonesians are forced to pick, it's between a rock and a hard place. And right here, with two heroes available to be picked up, are they going to start showing their dive potential, or are they going to go for something a bit more elusive? Maybe a mage in the mid lane to just try and fake out the members from the Philippines.
Well, usually for Indonesia, whenever the Valentina is left open, they do like to pick it up in the first phase. They can also go for something like a Beatrix, securing a solid gold laner for their team. But Hijime will get his signature Iesf onto his own hands, and that's the Yuzong as well. The Yuzong that's probably giving Team Philippines a bit of nightmares from that first time they met in the upper brackets. But the Leslie, a signature pick as well for Soriano in this tournament. And the Farsa, it's all just signature picks from everyone.
It's the combo, man. The sniper and the feather airstrike that the Philippines love using to get pickoffs from so far away. Right now, though, they are up against a Yuzong. Very solid engage, and they do not have any solutions for the crowd control. Diggy is not available, but what is available is that Estes pick that Villaluna likes to use to ensure that the backline is secure.
Philippines have found so much success based on the draft right here that you can see. They utilize the same draft actually up against Cambodia with a whole lot of emphasis on that range. But as predicted, that's the Beatrix for Brands in the gold lane. We saw a similar matchup yesterday, Arashi. Opi from Cambodia up against Soriano on that Leslie. It did not end up well. Did not end up really good at all for Opi yesterday. He was outlaned by a Leslie, which is again strange to see. This Leslie that's usually so passive in the early game, having a tough time usually. On the hands of Soriano, it doesn't feel like he has a tough time. It feels like he's the lane bully.
You have to remember that there's a lot of roam potential in the Philippines as well. That is part of the reason why the weak laner in that Leslie, in the hands of Soriano, is so dominant. The backup, the assistance from his team has always been on point. And now in the second draft banning phase, we see that Indonesia will take away that Estes pick as well. And as far as security is concerned, the Philippines are running out of options.
We saw how scary that Estes pick was for Villaluna up against Cambodia. So the respect given by both teams. Philippines also respecting Dreams on that Kadira. Again, I think throughout Season 10 MPL ID and even here in ISF, his Kadira is still sitting at a 100% win rate. Shows just how lethal he is on that hero, how he's able to maneuver around the map, playing around that vision to capture, to get a few catches on the board. But now Indonesia, will they decide to go for another ban towards Villaluna, like that signature Mathilda? Or will they choose to go just for a safe ban, maybe trying to take away some of the heroes from Del Rosario?
Well, if Del Rosario is in the conversation, it's just so flexible. He can go for the Barats, he can go for the Guinevere as well. Those two heroes have been preferred, but for Indonesia, they want to make sure that there is no safety for the backline of the Philippines, so they will ban out that Mathilda as you predict. And for the Philippines, is it going to be more engaged banned away, or is it going to be a single hero? It's going to be that Leomord.
Leomord, it's a hero that, you know, right now is currently technically in the meta. It's one of the prio picks, but we've seen as, you know, the meta in ISF progress, that this Leomord pick is really just fallen out of that prio. Indonesia now with the first pick in the second phase of the draft. They need a roamer and a jungler.
Martis? Martis is available if they want to actually abuse the crowd control immunity to take control of the early game. We've seen that Cambodia, I think, attempted it once. It did not work out for them, but Indonesia is not the same team.
Well, we'll see, right? Especially for Taz, he likes those assassins. Will Coach Zace give him those assassins? The answer is no. It's a utility hero in the jungle. That Akai, as Philippines, with no hesitation, picks up that Lolita for Villaluna. Up against the Beatrix, becomes a solid choice here. But the thing is, Arashi, there's a lot that can actually cancel that Numina Blast from Indonesia. There's a lot of CC to play with.
And I think that's the exact reason why the Akai was picked. Being able to secure the backline, maybe zone away, and push away the pad up on that Benedetta with the heavy spin. That is an option they can play around with. And in those big fights, how dynamic Indonesia is, we have no idea if the Akai is going to be an engage tool or just a crowd control tool used to just make a mess out of the formations of the Philippines.
Now it's the jungler. The Barats was seen before. Now we're going to see the Fredrin. The most picked hero for Del Rosario here at ISF 2022. And now for Indonesia, what's left is just the roamer. At this point, they have a solid engage already. Good disengage with the Akai as well. They might actually want to double down on that cover, right? The peel pressure for the Beatrix, for the Iesf to play it front to back.
if the Beatrice itemizes for DPS, I think he can match the damage out of the Leslie. Although in the late game, the true damage is the big main concern, as well as the fact that Soriano can act a bit of like an assassin and just snipe out the squishier members. So I think crowd control is still what Indonesia will try and go for. The answer will be that Franco, man. They want to make sure that they can get all the lead possible, but that's only if they can land those iron hooks.
There's a lot of mobility from Philippines, but Indonesia want to get that ball rolling from the start. Up against this team, both of the drafts have been set once again. Arashi, the first game.
Korban demam berdarah jutaan orang. Nyamuk demam berdarah adalah nyamuk siang hari. Oleh Sovel 2 kali, pagi dan sore. Nyamuk tidak bisa gigit lagi. Sovel, tolak nyamuk demam berdarah.
Well, Bali, Indonesia, the first game of the Grand Finals for Iesf 2022 Mobile Legends, with Philippines with their draft multi-dimensional, playing around the dive and even the front to back with their range, and Indonesia doing the same. Let's jump into the land of dawn for game number 1.
Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway. Both junglers seem to be prioritizing clearing with that Demon Slayer emblem, but right now, it seems like Taz will be alone, and that will mean that he will be clearing a lot less faster compared to Del Rosario.
Looking at both of the matchups here, well, the matchup in the mid lane, technically, it will definitely favor Imam and Villaluna on the Farsa and Lolita when it comes to clear, and especially when it comes to roaming around. Psychots is going to be the target here. Petrify used by Dapadab already early on. Psychots going to be stunned up, and the instant first blood over to the Philippines before the first minute.
Level 2 roam, and this is the danger of that Farsa with the wings by wings. This is where Hijime on that lead cannot really match that speed, that rotating potential. And with that lead, now that sets the tone for the EXP lane as Hijime gets taken very, very low. He needs to respect the burst potential.
You can see the curveball already from Philippines. Usually, if you take a look at their matches from yesterday even, they always rotate around that gold lane early on. We saw that Opie was picked up against Soriano with the same kind of strat, with again Imam rotating with the wings by wings over to the gold lane. The curveball sent was, again, you think we're gonna go to the gold lane, but we instead go to the XP lane. And that just kind of that was the moment where they were able to outsmart Indonesia early on. We'll see if this continues here, but both teams are opting to play it passively early on. They don't really want to look for anything too aggressive. But Del Rosario and Depada already able to actually steal away a creep in the jungle from Taz.
Taz already slightly behind, but the retribution battle is where this Akai pick actually has advantage. In the mid lane, already pressure being exerted, knowing that the turtle needs to be contested. Taz is looking for a bit of intel, a bit of a momentum. And if Psychots can come in and participate here with his ultimate, that Black Dragon Form is a big zoning tool. And it seems that the Philippines are opting to just let it go.
Mid-control was won by Indonesia right now, but that's going to be the retribution from Taz to secure the turtle. Top side, Ibir's Bastion with a real-world manipulation, and that's going to be Dreams flickering forward, finding Villaluna, picking up a double kill for the roamer from Indonesia.
What a turn of events right here. Letting go of the turtle, going for the topside play, but still falling short as Indonesia actually makes a play. Del Rosario is stuck in a 1v1, but it's a retribution battle, and actually Taz comes out on top.
Without the retribution, Taz plays it really well with that heavy spin. He was trying to buy time to get that retribution cooldown back, but he didn't even need it. He was able to steal it away. Now, 2 minutes in, Arashi, again, we need to talk about that. Indonesia opted to play around the turtle, getting the turtle onto their hands. Philippines, they opted to rotate, maybe even trade in the gold lane, but they weren't able to find any kills.
It's because they don't have a lot of combos, but look at here, Taz getting bursted down.
Gonna be taken down here by the damage from Imam. Del Rosario tanking a whole lot. Pops that Appraiser's Wrath as Dreams is gonna be stunned up. They're looking for more right now. Dreams gonna be collapsed on as Tapada rotates as well. It's that ultimate bonding experience already in the 3rd minute. They're grouping up.
And it's that speed that the Philippines can use to outmaneuver Indonesia. When going gets tough and the combos come in from Indonesia, the Filipinos have speed in their hands and they are using it again in the top side. But fortunately, brands will not be targeted just yet. The waves, as you can see, is what is important here. If the Filipinos can use this wave pressure to actually roam around faster, it doesn't even matter if the Indonesians have superior engage.
I mean, you can take a look at the gold here. The fact that Indonesia were able to find that turtle, able to find a few kills, but still are equal in gold against Philippines shows that the Philippines have just been laning super well. And you can see in the XP lane with just a slight lead early on, the Padap has just been able to rotate, has been more active across the map, providing so much pressure for his team.
That's why it's so interesting, man. Contrasting team compositions, yet coming out even due to the execution, due to the strategy being applied in this early game right here. And now with the turtle spawning up, both teams going. Iron Hook lands though.
On to Villa Luna, who's going to be bursted down by the Venice Rage. Psychots now coming in with the Electrify onto two members, stunning them up. But there's no further follow-up. It's the turtle traded in for a kill, 1 for 1.
And it's going to be very difficult for the Indonesians to catch Imam. He does have the Purify that saved his life in that engagement. Dreams is zoning Soriano away though, but the backup is coming down through. The Indonesians will be able to pick up the turret, but it does seem that the Philippines will not be able to find any compensation.
Both teams still trading back and forth. It's still such an even game in the 5th minute here, with both teams standing at literally equal gold. It's probably just 100 gold lead, but with Indonesia getting that turret in the gold lane, they will have a little bit more pressure to play with when it comes down to that wave manipulation.
They can push the waves further into the side of the Philippines. They can use the lack of vision in that top side as well. And as you can see, Dreams is already trying to find some opportunities in the top side of the jungle. But the Filipinos are rotating in that mid lane. They like doing this siege playstyle, and they can poke down any member from Indonesia. This early in the game, the resistances, the defensive items have not been completed just yet.
It's the signature Ube that we've all come to know. Villa Luna, though, going aggressively onto Dreams, going to be stunned up, suppressed by the Bloody Hunt as Villa Luna will fall here in the 5th minute. Indonesia using this Franco really well, looking for another pick towards Imam or the Padap. But it seems like it's just the battle for that mid-control.
And if this continues, the Filipinos will not have a member tanky enough to just serve as the scouting tool. Right here, the Philippines are still trying to clear the waves, look for the big pickoff. But if the Indonesians keep getting the upper hand like this, it's going to be very difficult for them to even get that vision necessary for them to set up those ambushes.
You know, I think Indonesia have been responding to the rotations from Philippines with a lot of class right here. You know, with Indonesia, again, utilizing Hijume to actually lane alone in the mid lane, just having Dreams to support him in the back. But the mid control will definitely be held down by the Philippines here with a clear. Now both teams rotating over to the turtle. 6 minutes in, Del Rosario with Philippines looking for it. Taz goes in for the heavy spin, but will be stunned up. Dreams now in the back, not going to be able to find anything, but it's going to be Psychots who finds the Petrify. It's another Petrify for the Padap. Now in a 1v5, it's Psychots who's going to be taken down. Both the XP laners falling down. Del Rosario going to be there in the front, but it's an amazing hook over from the side of Dreams. Del Rosario taken very low. The damage coming in to support that, but it will not be enough. It's just a 1-4-2. Indonesia again with a bit of a lead, but the turtle did go to the hands of Philippines.
The Indonesians come out on top due to their superior crowd control, and this is what we're talking about. When the going gets tough, when everything is clumped up like that, the Indonesians have a bit of an advantage, at least until later on in the late game. For now, the Filipinos, they need to be very careful for the Iron Hook. Dreams has been very, very smart in waiting for the right opportunities. And we'll look at this fight right here, where both EXP laners are able to zone away their respective teams. But afterwards, the damage potential and this amazing hook from Dreams is able to get Indonesia that advantage in that fight.
There's so much pressure on the shoulders of Philippines. 1-0 down already. If Indonesia wins this, it's match point. They only need one more game after to secure the victory in this grand finals. So the pressure is on for Philippines as the Iron Hook will be cancelled out there by Villa Luna. Now it's Indonesia who are looking to get that mid turret.
They're looking to get that mid turret, and they have pressure on the side lanes as well. So the jungle is no longer safe for Del Rosario to start farming into, and without any tanks available, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be very difficult. Brands with the Nibiru's Passion, that's a lot of damage, but that's his conversion coming in from the Philippines.
That's a taunt coming in. Hijume going to be bursted down by the Padap in the back with the help of the Feather Airstrike. A 1-for-0 right now. But Indonesia, they choose to back away, not wanting to go for a 4v5. 5 seconds for the Lord, and Philippines will need to go for this right now with a man advantage.
The adjustment coming in from the Philippines is so good right now. They are a team that wants to go front to back, but given the right circumstances, they understand that they can flank around and actually catch the back lines from the Indonesia off guard, but that is what Teams is able to do with the iron hook.
A beautiful feather airstrike there to save Villaluna, but now Psychos jumps in with the Black Dragon form, able to find a Petrify, taking the kill onto Villaluna. The pot up on the backs right now, jumping in. Brand still able to cut away. Taz dealing a whole lot right now as Del Rosario and Soriano are on to the Lord. Taz looking for the steal right now at the real world, but Blake will be able to find the 2 members immobilized. Taz versus Del Rosario as the pot up comes in. That's Abby's favorite as pot up finds the steal onto the Lord. Del Rosario now trying to back off with Taz as well. The pot up still coming in, providing that escape for Del Rosario. And Philippines come out on top.
They're on the back foot, but they find the fight that they require and dab it up with that Benedetta. Just so good, zoning everyone away and somehow, some way, securing that turtle as well. We'll see that the real manipulation has been fought by Hijumi here to zone the Filipinos away. But the Paddock doesn't care. He keeps going for it, and Del Rosario is able to occupy everyone else, and that dive advantage, that backline vulnerability is showing for the Indonesians.
It was super risky, Arashi. I feel like, again, they wanted to just chain their damage together. The pot up with the Phantom Slash and obviously the retribution from Del Rosario. It caught Taz off guard. But again, that was a risky move because if Taz has read that, they would have been able to find that kill onto the Lord. The pot up, again, just dealing out that damage. He's actually doing a lot here, poking even against Indonesia where he should be just that backline threat.
He is able to literally burst down brands to half HP in the beginning of every fight. And when you're that low against a Farsa, against a Leslie, it makes it very difficult for you to have any impact at all in these big team fights. And look at that. One bolt from the Feather Airstrike is able to chunk Hijumi down to half HP. That is what the Indonesians are dealing with right now. And in contrast, Hijumi has finished his glowing wand, so the poke game, the DPS is higher, but if the Filipinos can get the burst early on, it won't matter.
The tides have turned. Now it's Philippines with the lead. More pressure to play with around that mid lane as well with the tier 1 taken down. Indonesia are going to find it extremely hard to actually contest for this mid control. Even though they have a lot of clear with their heroes, with the Iesf and the Beatrix obviously, it's still, again, Soriano who's going to be able to open up the map. Taz going to be caught here. A lot of damage placed onto him. The Illuminati blast as well, flickered forward. Taz gets out with a heavy spin. Philippines backing up, playing around still that bottom side river.
They made an aggressive play there, but the Lord is not up, so the Indonesians will be able to reset and wait for the next opportunity. But you can see the difference right here. The Filipinos are the ones setting up, waiting for an engage, waiting for a chance to just burst someone down from the side of the Indonesians. Unless the Indonesians can secure those defensive items, some physical and magical defense, it's going to be very difficult for them to even be in the picture for those mutual objective contests.
We're creeping in towards that late stage of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the draft, Arashi. Who has the edge when it comes to that late game for both Philippines and Indonesia?
In a weird way, it does seem very even, but of course, it depends on how the team fight goes. The Filipinos have true damage in their favor, and they have AoE, but
a pickoff in the top lane with Brands and Dreams finding a kill to the pot up. The man that's been such an impactful player around these neutral objective takes. And just like that, you can see Indonesia circling around the Enhanced Lord, looking for it, trying to commit onto it.
Without the pad up in the picture, the Indonesians can have an easier time. They might be using this Lord to just bait out some fights. Hijumi has the Ice Queen's wand, so if the Filipinos miss position, the Indonesians can definitely capitalize unless Hijumi almost gets taken out, and now the Indonesians pop the Black Dragon form.
Del Rosario on the flank right now, jumping in, looking for a steal. Hijumi finds it, secures it for Indonesia as Villaluna's Lumina Blast is going to be cancelled out. Del Rosario falling. Indonesia turning the game again towards their favor. 13 minutes in with the Enhanced Lord and an amazing snipe from Brand to connect onto Imam. Dreams looking for the hook once again. Villaluna not having the shield. It is just going to be Indonesia looking for a slow push with the Enhanced Lord. They do not want to overextend.
And in the long range department here, Farsa and Leslie against a Beatrix and a Iesf. It's a bit funny because both have burst damage, And DPS-wise though, I think the Indonesians have it. So if they play the prolonged long-range game, I think Hijumi might just be able to do a lot more damage than Imam. But of course, it depends on what the whole team wants to do. With the Lord approaching now, with the towers falling down consistently for the Indonesians, they're waiting for an opportunity. And this is where the Filipinos have a chance to go for that massive engage to try and turn things around.
Top lane, that's the enhanced Lord marching down with the mid lane as well, coming in. Indonesia looking for that three-way push. Dreams looking for the flanks right there, looking for a pickoff. A good feather airstrike to zone Hijumi away, as it's a beautiful micro-management from Team Philippines as they are able to defend, losing only one base turret right now. Ooh. Dreams almost finding that hook, but will not be able to. Only one base turret falls in that skirmish, in that siege.
You can see the discipline and the care that the Indonesians are using right now. They would usually go for an engage and perhaps go for a big fight, but they know against the Philippines, that could be the exact play that allows them to come back. If you take a look at the levels right now, Brands and Taz already at level 15, they definitely have a bit of an edge compared to the Filipinos, but soon, at about the 15 to 16 minute mark, it will no longer matter. The gold advantage will be moot because both teams will have a full inventory slot.
Now it comes down to the vision game. When we're at this point with just the base turrets left standing, Philippines needs to be extremely disciplined when it comes down to opening the jungle up. You can see they're grouping up towards that purple buff for Del Rosario. Brand's able to siege down that base turret in the bottom lane with the Renner. Now the mid lane base turret is all that is left. Some vision there provided by Philippines over to the bottom side jungle. But Indonesia will choose to play it disciplined, not wanting to go for anything too crazy, as we are going to take a look at the item check here in 15 minutes.
Well, Imam definitely has an abundance of damage right here. The Holy Crystal and the Divine Glaive penetrating the magical defense and also gaining a lot more magic power in the process. Along with that though, if you itemize for that magical damage, Soriano has a full inventory slot as well with the BOD. So if Brands gets chunked low enough, one hit is all it takes. And if he's out of range, the snipes are still an option as well. The Lord Dance here from both these teams will decide how this game turns around.
We'll see again. Indonesia still holding on to that lead. Again, with the waves being manipulated as it is, slow pushing in the top lane and that bottom lane. Philippines will have to send a few members, or maybe just one member, to just stay in the base defending. Again, Indonesia will have a little bit of a man advantage here, forcing the errors to come through from Philippines as they look for the enhanced Lord in the 16-minute. That's a hook again. Dreams reading it out well, but it's going to be the stun coming in from the Lord. Immortality popped in. Brands dodging away from Feather Airstrike. Del Rosario looking for the flanks right now. Is activating the heavy spin. And that's the Lord secured by Indonesia. Looking out blast by Luna. Cancelled out by Taz. Soriano massive in the back line. Still able to find Psychots. Both teams, again, just trading. Dreams with a concealed play. Looking for a hook. Del Rosario and the rest of the Philippines will be able to play around those mini waves to stop the hook from connecting. It's a 1-for-1. Lord for Psychots.
Lord for Psychots, and that is calculative gameplay coming in from the Indonesians. Knowing that the Padap is on the other side of the map, they go for that Lord play and they were able to catch the Filipinos off guard. And now,
look at a hook! Hijumi with the help of Brands snipes them down! The bottom onto the back line doing a whole lot of damage. The mirror bastion from Brands, spraying them down with the help of the real world manipulation. Hijumi takes them down. It's a 3-4-0 for Indonesia. Del Rosario, the appraiser's Brand 1v3, taunting Dreams up, but Brands will be able to melt him down. Soriano tagged down. It's a triple kill for Brands, and it's match point for Indonesia.
What a fight by the Indonesians, knowing that they have an advantage, landing the hook at the right moment. Dreams on the Franco enables his team yet again, and the Filipinos are on the back foot right now. They need to adjust.
What a start to the series, but it might be the beginning of the end for Philippines. It's match point, Arashi. We mentioned this. Losing here, it's a lot to take in. It's 2-1, 2-0 actually currently, because again of the +1 that Indonesia has for going through towards the grand finals from the upper brackets.
It's a lot of mental pressure for the members from the Philippines, but of course, despite how experienced they are, it's still gonna be a huge load But speaking of that, if you guys want to have an easier time when you're playing your own ranked games, what device, Mirko, could you recommend?
Well, I wonder what it is, the device you see right in front of both me and Arashi.
Awas merek anti kumantangan. Di Amerika atau Singapura pun banyak yang dilarang. Yang ramah, antis, wangi jasmine tea. Tangan tetap lembut, bisa langsung makan. Antis Food Grade.
The cheaper option, but still with wonderful specs. Galaxy A53 5G and the Galaxy A73 5G. Now, Arashi is the analyst. He knows a little bit more when it comes down to the specifications, so I'll hand it over to you, Arashi, for the specs right now.
It's all in here, man. 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage space, 120 refresh rate for that smooth gameplay, especially at the highest level of Mobile Legends. And of course, it's 5G ready, so say goodbye to your network problems. That's a thing of the past.
Yeah, absolutely, right? At this point, right now, we need to talk a little bit about the game again, Arashi. Philippines down 2-0.
And finally, there's a team that can actually solve this big problem. The Farsa and the Leslie combo. It's been so devastating, but the Indonesians have found a way to break the code. But as we all know, the pattern is any team is able to break the code, it happens once. Only once.
Villaluna has said this before. Philippines, this roster, the Blacklist International roster, they've never lost to the same team twice. Right now, they're a game away from Indonesia beating them for the second time. Highlights though, right now, we're gonna take a look at it. Arashi, match MVP, Brands, and yeah, we can give it over to him. That Renner shot in the end was the nail in the coffin.
And very solid decision on what weapon to use, the Nibiru or the Renner. And in the early game, you can see that the speed of the Filipinos are what they're weaponizing against the Indonesians. But later on, once the Indonesians have that tankiness, have that DPS to match that aggression, they are able to actually hold up their own against the Filipinos, and it all became a macro game. Who can get the engage first? Who can actually have control in the lanes? And with the higher tower priority from the Indonesians, they're able to have an inherent lead already. And afterwards, it's all about that engage, jumping on the right person, and Brands being chased around by Dapadap is still able to survive and actually do a lot of damage, heal up in the mid side. He's just so active on the map. And of course, Taz on the Retribution, very clean as well. Overall, it just seems like the Indonesians have a lot more options to play around. And we already talked about how the Numinant Blast from Villaluna is massive, but is also able to be cancelled by so many things in the hands of the Indonesians. The heavy spin, the petrify, the knockout from Taz right here, as you can see. Everything needs to be watched by the Filipinos, whereas for the Indonesians, they can be a lot wilder in how they want to approach these fights, and eventually that X factor is what allows them to get the edge, and right here, it was just too much for the Filipinos.
I think that was the main concern for us as well on the caster desk when we saw that Lolita pick. That Numinant Blast becomes basically the most dangerous weapon coming from that Lolita, right? Obviously the shield as well to cover, but with that Iron Hook constantly being on point from Dreams, it's always Villaluna who needs to take it, right? And with that, Villaluna gets completely bursted down by everything from Indonesia. The damage is unreal, especially from Brands on the Beatrix in the late game. Take a look at his items, Hunter Strike, and instantly towards the Malefic Roar with the DHS. Heavy emphasis on melting those frontliners down, and they did it. Indonesia played a very well front-to-back composition.
When the fight gets very, very long, yes, the Nibiru's passion gets blocked by the Bulwark we saw in the final fight, but with those items, the basic attacks themselves will be enough, especially if you're 8-0. So Brands is definitely up there, and you can see that the gold per minute and the damage dealt is on his side as well. But alongside him is going to be Hijime on that Iesf, man. It's very underrated. It's definitely one of the big issues for the Philippines, because especially when they're trying to contest for those for the neutral objectives like the Lord, they are forced to walk through that slow and take all that poke damage before the fight even begins.
The damage taken though by Del Rosario, 117,000. It's a lot of damage to take, man. He's the official sandbag of the game, but the player spotlight earlier on, and now the match MVP, Brands, 8-0-6. The way he was able to, again, maneuver around, kite back against the Benedetta it's not a random Benedetta, Arashi. It's the Padup's Benedetta. It's Agent Zero.
He's against the Padup on the Benedetta. He's against Imam on that Farsa, using the feather airstrike to try and snipe him down. And he's against the literal Filipino sniper in Soriano, trying to actually find ways to pick him off. And yet he has 0 deaths. Come on.
8-0 and 6, a wonderful performance by Indonesia, and especially by Brands. But now, looking at Game 2. Arashi, we need to talk a little bit about the Philippines, but before that, we're going to head on to a break. Mirko and Rashi will be back in a bit. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned for Game 2.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Iesf 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022.
He saved the day for Indonesia. but he can, like I said, she does not miss. Blood versus Dream.
With the 2K and make it 3. Perfect round for
It's all in the hands of North Macedonia. One more time is all it takes. King 7, final man to do it. North Macedonia, your defending champions, are heading back to the grand finals, signing up for the rematch.
Coming onto him, slow and also from areas try to get away, but already taking so much damage away bad before one more hit joker. Alright, all the bottom.
2-0 currently in the grand finals, best of 5. Indonesia leading the series. And for Philippines, it's their last chance. You can kind of say that here. They need to be able to take a game, to build again, to be able to equalize in the series.
Can they mount a reverse sweep when they are hanging by a single thread? It's such a difficult situation here, especially because their main weapon has just been solved, essentially, unless they have something in store that the Indonesians and us audiences have not seen before. That is what we've expected from the Philippines. We'll have to see if that is what they can bring to the table.
We've seen the Philippines come back from this kind of score before. Reverse sweeps, especially for this roster, they've been able to do it many times in the past. Now in this stage, representing their country.
Kami hadir untuk Anda, semakin kuat, berilah yang terbaik, wujudkan segala harapan. Bali jerit pilihan utama, Bali jerit berikan manfaat, Bali jerit di semua, dalam mata berbagi, Bali jerit.
And be very crafty with their rotations when brands as well as Dreams were able to rotate around and get surprise pickoff onto the paddock on the top side. It's stuff like that just swings the game in balance of one of the teams.
So you think Philippines should start to maybe stop going for these crazy skirmishes, maybe try to play it macro again, go for these objectives and utilize that ultimate bonding experience to again get that lead in the game?
I think a bit of different looks, a bit of flexibility will actually allow the Indonesians to just get bewildered. Because right now, it seems like the Indonesians know exactly what the Filipinos want to do, and it's the right moves, but the Indonesians can do the wrong move at the right time, and it will work in the right moment, in the right context. So for the Filipinos, if they're able to do the same thing and expect the Indonesians to try and counter their quote-unquote proper gameplay, they can surprise the Indonesians as well. But before even going to that step, we are back to the drafting phase, Mirko. Diggy and Benedetta. The pad-ups, Benedetta is just a bit too difficult, too annoying for the Indonesians to leave open.
It's now or never for Philippines as the draft begins, and I agree with what you said earlier. The Benedetta, even though Philippines lost in game 1, the pad-up on that Bene, my goodness, even though his score, his stat line wasn't too impressive, what he was able to do, the impact he had on these team fights was the key to Philippines' victory. And because the pad-up was caught in that top lane, the Lord was given over to Indonesia. And Del Rosario had to fall as well in that skirmish. Again, it comes down to that pick-off game that Philippines needs to be aware of up against this Indonesian lineup that really likes going for the crazy pick-off strat.
Well, it's a crazy pick-off strat, but it's also the unexpected strat. And speaking of unexpected, Uranus? What?
That's the first Uranus ban in the first phase that we've seen in this tournament so far. We have seen it in the second phase, but that is interesting, Arashi, to say the least. The Yi will be the first pick, though, for Indonesia. One of the key heroes that got them the victory. The Philippines will pick up the Kaja. Because Indonesia banned the Uranus out, that Kaja is left up for grabs. The only question now is, where is this Kaja gonna go? Will Philippines opt to play this Kaja in the jungle, or perhaps that roam?
Or perhaps that mid lane as well. The hero is just so flexible in how he has wave clear, he has pick-off potential as well. Definitely in a role where he can roam across the map and just pick off people with a Divine Judgment. But one more pick here for the Philippines. Will they go for a gold laner or the mid lane? Another mid lane that will expose the fact that the Kaja will not be in that mid lane. The Farsa is the main arsenal, the main weapon that they want to use. But now, it means that Leslie can still be contested.
Ooh. Now, if you're Indonesia, do you want to stay with what works? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Yi, the Beatrix, the Yuzong that we saw in game 1. Or do they want to change a little, right? Maybe go for the Leslie now, taking it away from Soriano. But if they do go for the Leslie, Soriano and the Beatrix, man, that's also his signature pick. Indonesia decide, hey, we're going to go for the Yuzong, but we're going to change it up a bit with the Kadita now in the first phase.
And that is dangerous. Dreams on the Franco was already such a big issue. Dreams on the Kadita, all the way in the early game, able to just one-shot your roamers, because everyone who's tanky enough to withstand that damage won't have the items in the early game. So this is a lot of early game pressure, and the Philippines, they can go for that Mathilda if they really want to, but then, will they be lacking damage?
What Indonesia is saying with these picks is you can pick the Leslie, but you're not going to have a good time. That Yuzong was the answer to this crazy range-filled composition from Philippines. They will decide to go for a Lapu first. Again, both gold laners still being hidden by both Indonesia and Philippines. But I think Philippines know right now that if they go for the Leslie, if they go even for a Beatrix, it might be too risky. There's so much dive, and to add on to the dive from the Yuzong and the Kadita, with the Petrify, there's also that real-world manipulation from the Yi to lock these members in that area.
It's all down to who they focus down in the bigger team fights in the late stage of the game. For the Filipinos right now, they have a good dive, a good crowd control tool as well with the Bravest Fighter from the Lapu Lapu. Is that enough though? If they go up against in the late game against Indonesia in a 5v5, it still seems like the fight will be in favor of Indonesia, but that Beatrix will be banned away.
With Beatrix ban, at this point, I feel like Indonesia don't need to go for the Leslie ban, right? Knowing that their composition currently literally counters the Leslie, they might actually be going for a ban towards still the gold lane, I believe, or the jungler. If they go for the gold lane. Melissa is a good hero against dive heroes, but right now it doesn't really seem like the ideal option. Another option for kiting away is going to be the Irithel. That could be used as well. And this is why it's so difficult right now. We have no idea what is going on through the heads of these coaches. For me, I do agree with that. I do believe that the Irithel is the proper answer to this composition with the movement that she has. But that's another very interesting ban from Indonesia. We saw the Uranus, we questioned it. Now we're seeing the Granger. We saw this once. It was up against Slovenia.
It is a very specific composition as well. and Indonesia, maybe they want to force Wise, Del Rosario, into that defensive, very tanky hero so that they can limit the aggression coming in from the jungle. Maybe that is the main point, the main idea that they're going with right now.
Man, the question I have now is, what is the Philippines gonna ban? The gold laner, we saw the Beatrix, the Wanwan. If they want to shut the gold lane down, Brands down, they want to go for another, but they instead ban out the Akai, which means that Philippines might actually be looking to play this Kanja in the jungle, maybe, right?
Perhaps.
Honestly, at this point, I'm thinking, go crazy if you're Philippines. You got nothing to lose, you're 2-0 down. We've seen Wise play a whole lot of crazy heroes in the past. The Valentina in the jungle, that's still up for grabs. The Guinevere as well, Arashi.
The Guinevere will be a huge problem for the Iesf, but that's about it. And it's not exactly a foolproof method either. So for Indonesia right now, one final ban. If it's towards Wise as well, then this really shows how much emphasis they're putting in shutting down the jungle gameplay from the Philippines. And it will be the Cloud actually.
Ooh.
They are wary of that dive-in potential from the Philippines. They are expecting a completely different approach from our guys in the Philippines.
It's an interesting choice. Philippines now, if they go for an Irithel, I think Indonesia, they won't hesitate at all by going for the Leslie here. Philippines will go for the Leslie up against so much dive. Oof. This is a risky move by Philippines.
It's a risky move, but there are not a lot of other options available either. So for Indonesia right now, the Irithel is still available. It's very flexible. It can be used aggressively and defensively. But is that what they're going to go for? Or will they actually confuse us yet again?
Well, you mentioned a hero that I think is going to be picked up here. Indonesia, Melissa. It was the winning factor, the winning condition for Indonesia the first time they met up against Philippines, up against the Lapu. Same case here. There's going to be a lot of cover from that go-away, providing it for not only himself, but also that Iesf. And let's see, it is going to be that Melissa with the Martis in the jungle for Indonesia. A proper front-to-back composition that can also dive. It's a multi-dimensional composition with a lot of winning conditions for Indonesia. But for Philippines, their final pick, either the jungler or the roamer. What do they need to go up against this composition that Indonesia has?
I think they need damage. Because right now, even if the Philippines go for crowd control, Indonesia has so much crowd control immunity, they have more pick-up advantage, and the answer that the Filipinos go for will be that Baxia. Ooh. So right now, it's Indonesia going with aggression, damage, and crowd control against the Philippines going with speed. Speed will be the name of the game here, with the wings by wings and the shield unity being used to its utmost potential by the Philippines.
The Philippines, once again, down 2 games, 2 points. It's match point for the Indonesians, and it's time, now or never, for the Philippines to come back to try to build up that equalizer to get to the 5th game. It's a long way to go, but it begins here, Arashi. Philippines and Indonesia. Bali, Indonesia, for both the Filipino supporters and the Indonesian supporters. Let me hear you. They're ready for the game, Arashi.
I mean, they must be. We are ready for the game as well. And just like that, Mirko, it's time.
The last chance begins now. Let's see if the Philippines can do it to put themselves on the board. It's Indonesia's Taz on the orange buff. Philippines Del Rosario starting on the purple.
2 petrifies available for Indonesia to make plays around. And for the Philippines, it's all flickers, and it's still the Purify in the hands of Imam. But wait a minute, that's aggression in the early game.
Petrify being popped in defensively by Dreams. The Luna will take a bit of damage as well. But it's Philippines with, again, that early aggression.
They went for the early aggression, but with the Thalassophobia, the blessing of the ocean, Dreams is just so much harder to pick off, and this is what they're trying to abuse right here. If the Filipinos want to go for those pickoffs early on, it's going to be very, very difficult because all the targets are either tanky, mobile, sustainable, or like Taz right here, he has crowd control immunity.
Looking at it right now, man, Imam went for the Purify. He can actually get out of these crazy engages from Indonesia, especially from those Petrifies. But when it's combo together, they can actually just use it in a way where that Purify becomes kind of, useless, right?
It's going to be a lot more difficult. I mean, for Indonesia, they have the option of just going on to Villa Luna as well, and just like that, if you're on a Kaja and you cannot get those pickoffs, your effectiveness, your usage is down so much. So right here, with the turtle spawning, aggression is being engaged by the Indonesians, and that Iesf pick, man, it's a lot of damage and so much utility that is such a thorn in the side of the Philippines.
Both teams, again, they're playing it passively. But honestly, if we're looking at it right now, if the game is as slow tempo as it is in the first 2 minutes, it's definitely going to favor Philippines later on in the game. With the Farsa and that Leslie constantly scaling, Indonesia will find themselves outscaled in the later stages. They're going to have to look for more picks early on. They're going to have to build a snowball here in the first few neutral objectives.
If they don't snowball, it's going to be very difficult for Brands to solo carry. Yes, Melissa has a lot of damage, and yes, he has the Inspire, but right now Villa Luna gets jumped on.
It's only the Roamer right now who's taking a whole lot of damage there. It's going to be the pot up onto the back line. That's a beautiful retribution by Taz to secure the first turtle of the game as Dream jumps in onto Imam, who's still able to get out with the wings by wings. The pot up now with the help of Villa Luna against Psychos, and Taz who's able to withstand, to sustain back up. Del Rosario going to fall, and it's the first blood over to Taz.
Look at Psychos just sustaining through all that damage, and you can see the benefit that aggression brings to you. Imam was unable to do anything because he was instantly jumped on by Dreams. A roamer in his role, but still able to function like an assassin.
Man, the Smartest as well, Rashi. We've seen the Smartest pick a whole lot. Meanwhile, top side, Psychos gonna be stunned up. He gets a little bit more HP. Doesn't get solo killed. Taz, though, right now, again, playing around that top side, providing a bit of support. Arashi, it's still 1-0. The turtle also going to the hands of Indonesia. So it's Indonesia with the initial lead. Del Rosario with the shield unity and even the Tortoise's Puissance. It's actually committing on to Dreams right now with Villa Luna coming in. That's the rough waves popped by Dreams defensively just to get out of that situation.
And it does seem like Indonesia has a lot more advantage, but this is how it's supposed to be. They have strong early game heroes and they need to abuse it, because even though they are winning, the longer the game goes, the more difficult it's gonna be. Right now the Filipinos go for a dive, but it gets countered.
Real world manipulation. Imam so low. Still, having that wings by wings, proper cover from the rest of the roster here for Team Philippines. Imam's got to be careful. He needs to back off. Hijume and Dreams already maneuvering themselves to pick up, to give some more space over to Brands to pick up the shield here. Imam going to be taken low with the feather airstrike. That's a clutch movement by Imam. He gets out. He outplays the Indonesian members. Dreams here going to be able to get out, but what a play. Imam staying.
Outplay above outplays here. We saw that Brands goes in aggressively, trying to outplay the two low members from the side of the Philippines, but the Philippines read through it and counter it back. Right now, the Philippines have some more momentum to work with, and the turtle is up. Will they contest right here, knowing that as far as heroes goes in the early game, they are at a disadvantage, and it seems like Indonesia might just let it go.
Better setup right now with a Divine Judgment as well, but bringing Taz out for the retribution to come through from Del Rosario to secure the second turtle of the game. It's Philippines who are able to withstand, and again, they're coming back, equalizing in gold.
They're equalizing in gold, but the Indonesians have taken a lot of HP, and of course the gold shield from the bottom turret as well. That means Brands who have a lot more damage, and looking at the composition, there will be some time here where the long-range burst will not be able to just deny him completely, and in those mid-game fights, that is where Brands will attempt to use that lead to try and take over the game.
We'll have to see again, right? The game is going very, very slow. Like we mentioned early on, Indonesia wants to get the ball rolling as fast as possible. In the later stages, they're going to have to rely heavily on that Iesf and the Melissa. I think when it comes to this just consistent damage, it might actually favor Philippines. With Villa Luna now running away, Dreams going in. That's a Petrify as well. A lot of damage placed in, a lot of resources spent as well. He's going to be dove on with Feather Airstrike, and Dabrab, who jumps in with a flicker, finding that kill. Brands now with the go away, still able to kind of bend, but the Padap comes in with that stun, picking up a double kill for Philippines. Even Soriano getting out. Taz now in the midst, still able to escape. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Philippines.
The Philippines definitely come out on top here, taking out the gold lane and the mid lane at the same time. They were just a bit too aggressive from Indonesia, and they get flanked out. And against a Baxia, if he is behind you guys, that's going to be so difficult to deal with. And Soriano instantly equalized the turret situation. Let's take a look at that replay. Instantly engaging onto Villaluna, but as a result, Hijumi gets jumped on. He pops the real-world manipulation to try and buy a bit more time, but even Brands gets taken out right here. And you can see that in a messy fight, both teams can come out on top, but wait a minute, Brands is out of the game.
Philippines, this is what they like to do. Again, playing around that gold lane. Dreams, though, again, this is getting personal. Another engage onto Villaluna, who's able to soak in that damage. It's all to distract from the turtle as Taz and Psychots are onto it. With a man advantage, Philippines will look to try to commit onto this. It's a contest right now with Zebra coming in. Psychots finds it, securing the turtle. Imam still able to get out with wings by wings. Psychots disengaging with the help of Dreams. Philippines not going to go for it. As well as Indonesia, both teams, they just decide to back off and to rebuild.
Indonesia is still ahead right here. They were able to steal that turtle as well. But as we mentioned, the clock is ticking, and they keep trying to go for engages onto Villaluna, and it hasn't been really working out as intended. And the Filipinos are definitely still not as behind as the Indonesians would want them to be.
7 minutes in. Only a 1,000 gold lead here for Indonesia. Even less, actually. That's 700 around. Conceal play going to be popped in now. Villaluna looking for the play. Brands able to spot them out, canceling that conceal. As Taz disengages, Philippines are trying their best to, again, get some pressure back into the enemy jungle in that gold lane. They have an advantage when it comes to that pressure because of the tier 1 in that bottom side, but they have to be very careful around that top lane. Look at how Indonesia are playing around that.
Right now, Imam does not have the Lightning Truncheon as well. So once that item is completed, that's a lot more wave clear, a lot more burst damage that the Filipinos can play with. Right here, Dreams is serving as an assassin, trying to make a play, most likely. But we'll have to see if the Filipinos fall for it. The mutual objectives are not up right here, so both teams, they have time to try and make creative plays of their own.
It's all about the setup again, right? Mid-control, pushing into waves. Again, just building this little lead with manipulating the waves, by manipulating the waves, as they're also going to play around the vision. They're going to play around the bushes right now to look for these crazy ambushes. But honestly, if they play this way, Arashi, I do feel like, again, Indonesia might have a little bit of a lead when it comes down to just that pickoff. There's a lot of map openers, though, for Philippines to get that vision down. Dream's going to be zoned out. That's the Lord against spawning in. Whoa, the bravest fighter by Depada. Over in that topside river. That's a massive resource burnt out before the Lord fight.
The Filipinos are applying the Indonesian strategy of taking out your engage tool before you can engage on them. So Dreams is definitely one of the main heroes they are looking to pick off. But look at this play, though. The Filipinos already showing different looks, being a lot more aggressive. We saw that they usually kite back, but in the first few fights here, they're actually diving into the back line, ensuring that Hijumi and Brands get taken out, even if the frontliners are able to dive towards their own back line.
Winning conditions for both teams. For Philippines, they need to play this team fight with Depada jumping into that back line. Again, he needs to be the distraction towards the Iesf, towards the Melissa. But for Indonesia, they need to just dive straight onto the Leslie and the Farsa. It becomes really, really interesting now in the mid-stage of the game with the Lord spawn in, as Indonesia will have more control here. Philippines looking to, again, still find this position. They're still trying to contest it, Arashi.
And right now, even though Indonesia wants to go for pickoff, even though it seems like they know that they have a numbers advantage here, you can see that everyone's playing so patiently, trying to figure out if this is a trap, if there's any flanks coming through. And for Indonesia, it's a slow approach, but the Filipinos are rotating, and the Indonesians spot them. Black Dragon form is being used.
Black Dragon form over there. Villaluna going to be able to find the divine judge, but Taz is going to be looking for him. Let's give it down to Rosario, who finds the retribution. Now, Taz going to be stunned up, going to be decimated there by himself. Del Rosario canceling out the real world manipulation, and Philippines are back. They are here in the game, and they're looking to win it.
That is a massive Lord picked up by the Philippines. They're the ones who are able to just counter-engage. And now with the Lord just pushing and empowering the waves, the Indonesians are on the back foot. They do have long-range damage, but they are not immune to the dive potential. And just like that, Feather Airstrike has been used, and it's being used so often and so aggressively by Imam.
That Feather Airstrike again Such a problem for Indonesia to deal with right now. As with the Lord pushing in that bottom lane, they are going to look for some sieges. Soriano already in that bottom lane with the support, with the vision provided by Depadap and Villaluna. They're looking to siege down some more, but it's, again, just Indonesia who are opting to give this bottom lane tier 2 up for the Philippines. In the mid lane as well, they're looking for it right now. Del Rosario is able to find the shield unity. And the instant follow-up coming in from Soriano and Imam to pick it up. Now it's the mid lane tier 2. Philippines are doing super well in the siege. Every single turret falling now, as that's perfect setup again for the top lane tier 2. The Feather Airstrike taking away a whole lot of HP from Hijume.
For now, Indonesia, they have a huge detriment. They are not able to get that engage. In game number 1, every time they figure out that the fight is on, they can just go and they can catch the members of the Philippines, but it's a reverse this time.
That's the Divine Judgment. Taz instantly bursted down. The real world inflation not finding the range, but Saika finds the Petrify onto 3. It's a 1-for-1 now. Indonesia able to find one more. Jumps in, almost finding more, but it's a beautiful disengage from Philippines. A beautiful read by the members, both using the Flicker and the Purify.
That was such a tense situation for the Philippines. That could have been disaster. They were clumped up together to avoid getting picked off. But against a Kadira, against a Yutong, you need to have proper spacing. Right here, 3-man Petrify from Psychots was able to start it off for Indonesia, and the follow-up from Dreams nearly sealed the deal. Fortunately for the Philippines though, they're able to escape with their lives, and now it's back to that slow-paced gameplay. Who will make the first move?
Solid reaction time for both Soriano and Imam. The positioning as well was absolutely perfect. And now Rashi, we're creeping into that late game with the items here. Oh, it's a beautiful engage by Depadap over towards Dreams. Psychos looking for some more. Doesn't have the Petrify. Soriano still able to kite away with the help of Imam. Psychos jumping in. Gonna be pushed back. Del Rosario taken down. Soriano finding the kill. It's a 2-for-1 again in favor of Philippines.
Dreams tries his best to be that obnoxious roamer, finding intelligence and still surviving, but the Filipinos understand that he has limited mobility. Every time he's have been used up, they just jump on him and they completely punish Dreams and shut him down. Right here, 0 and 2 is not the score he needs to be able to one-shot, to be the threat for the back line.
That's the downside of not having a Flicker. That's the downside of going for something like a Petrify. You're technically a glass cannon. You cannot take those crazy engages that the Philippines have been able to force. But now, again, it's been the real world inflation. Depadap again on the back line, jumping in, doing so much. Depadap finding it, and the retribution goes towards the mid laner for Indonesia. Soriano on the back line, still able to dish out so much damage, picking up an unstoppable, and it's a 3-for-1. The Philippines here are absolutely styling, but the Lord was given over to Indonesia with only Dreams and Psychos left to defend. It seems Philippines want to look for the end.
15 seconds for Brands to respawn right here. The Filipinos, they might just go for the 4v2 team fight. Psychos goes in with the Black Dragon form just to delay. The Petrify is available, but it doesn't seem like he will commit on a play like this.
Furious dive defensively. Dreams gonna be stunned up by the shield unity. Soriano deals so much damage. That's a snipe. Dreams taken down. A monster kill for Soriano. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's the Enhanced Lord marching down with Imam forcing that Feather Airstrike to clear it out. Whoa. It's Philippines again, only able to find that base sword in the mid lane. That's the Furious dive again onto Villaluna, knocking 2 members up. Soriano in the back lines, but it's going to be Brad who's massive with the go away, dealing out a whole lot of damage as the Depadap soaks in so much in the front line. Soriano still in the midst, again dealing the true damage on towards the Indonesian members. The Depadap running back, taking low, flickers out, gets back to safety. A 1-for-1 in the end.
A very good try by the Indonesians, trying to make sure that with the Lord pressuring the Filipinos, they delay the recalls and go for a fight when the Filipinos are disoriented. It all began here when Villaluna is in the front. They go with the Furious Dive from Psychots, and Brands was positioning so well, but the Depadap does so much damage. He is an absolute menace towards that back line. Taz tries his best, but at this point, the Martis is just a damage sponge for Soriano. The true damage is so dangerous and so difficult to deal with.
Well, we'll see right now. They're going to be spotted again. That's why Leslie becomes so prio right now. But you can already see with the real world inflation popped in. That's going to be Dreams looking for the back line. Imam with a beautiful dodge and the Purify to get out. It's just the mid lane tier 1 taken down. Del Rosario with the shield unity, as well as the Tortoise's Poissons. He's looking for an engage, but it will not happen for Philippines as Indonesia read it out. They back off, and it's back to that slow tempo setup game, that macro level gameplay again as we take a look at the items.
Imam has the Holy Crystal on top of the Lightning Truncheon Clock of Destiny combo, and with a Winter Truncheon, that is just double security because of course Imam understands he is an important tool for the Philippines right now, and for Dreams, having the Genius Wand and the Divine Glaive, he now starts to do a lot more damage than the Philippines can afford to take. If the fight actually goes in favor of the Indonesians, that is definitely one of the core factors, as right now, the Lord will spawn while Imam does not have a Purify. So that is a factor that the Indonesians can count on if they want to engage, because both Petrifies from Indonesia are still available.
9 seconds for the Enhanced Lord. Still, it's an Enhanced Lord. Not yet that Evolved Lord. It spawns in the 18th minute of the game. But I do feel like it's going to be both teams looking for that Evolved Lord. Both teams will just try to dance around the Lord, play with the waves in the side lanes, and again, just force a mistake from one another. Right now, it does feel like Philippines have more control over the Lord pit with the pod up on that top lane. This time, he's playing very carefully, Rashi, because of what happened last game. But now it's going to be the Black Dragon form, actually from Cyclops. Concealed, and he finds Soriano with the help of Dreams. That's a shutdown picked up. Luna falling to the hands of Hijume as that's where the airstrike responded towards the real world manipulation. Miniwaves pushing in that mid lane. Del Rosario going to look for an opening right now as that's Philippines looking for something in this fight. What can they do, Rashi?
They can go for the lore still if they really want to. It's going to be forced to be a 50-50 though. No Petrifies available for the Indonesians, but the Filipinos, it seems like they do not want to risk it. They know that they have options to play around with, so they concede this Lord for now.
It's a free Lord given over to Indonesia. Still an Enhanced Lord. I think it was a wise decision by Philippines to look just to recall, to back off, to not commit, and to play around that Leslie and the Farsa now as we have entered that late stage.
We have entered that late stage, and now Indonesia with the Lord in they can go for a dive for aggressive maneuvers while the Philippines are forced to adjust and adapt to the fact that the waves are going to be pushing. Indonesia is going for those pickoffs though, waiting for flanks available, and if the Filipinos misstep here, it could be dangerous.
No room for mistakes. Taz jumping in, bringing Del Rosario back, but Villa Luna finds the Divine Judgment on towards Cyclops. Was able to find a Petrify out to 3. It's comboed in. Soriano finds the kill. Taz gonna go massive on the back line as the pot up does the same. With the Bravest Fighter on to 3. He does so much. He turns the tide. Imam getting out, getting a Petrified. A beautiful Winter Truncheon. The pot up versus the world in the back line. It's gonna be Imam falling. Del Rosario trying to save the game with the pot up as well. They're looking for it. The pot up jumps in. Taz gonna be able to dish out some damage as Brands goes into the mid lane, clearing the base turret up. The bottom with the Bravest Fighter again, saving the game for Philippines and taking Taz down for a double kill.
All ends up in a 3-4-3 for both these teams, but the Indonesians have taken all the base turrets from the Filipinos, and it looks like they have the advantage here. Dash timers though. 37 seconds on Taz, 25 seconds on Hijume right now. The Filipinos have a window where they have more members, but just take a look at that previous fight. Look at the engage. It just starts everything up for the Indonesians, and there's just not enough damage coming in from the Filipinos. They were not set up for this fight. And of course, Dreams comes in from the side, and it was sketchy. Everyone was so low, but fortunately for both these teams, 2 to 3 members were still able to survive. Hijume now picks up the Brute Force Breastplate as well, so it's going to be a lot more tanky against the pad up as well as Soriano, but the purple buff has been stolen by the members of the Philippines. But now with the wave advantage, with the base turrets gone, the Indonesians have a lot more macro options to explore.
The pot up is making miracles happen. Villaluna to be caught after rough waves with the real world manipulation. The Queen has fallen in the 20th minute of the game. Philippines down 4v5. This is the moment again for Indonesia to look for either a siege or to play around that Evolved Lord, with Villaluna spawning back in 26 seconds.
There's a massive wave in the bottom side, but the Indonesians opt to go for control, for setup in the Lord Pit. The Filipinos are looking for an opportunity, but with 15 seconds to go until their main engage tool, their main takeoff person is actually on the map, it's going to be very dangerous. The pad-up though has the Blade of Despair, so now the backline needs to be very, very careful. And it seems like the Filipinos are not going down without a fight.
Del Rosario opening up this shot, the fight! The pad-up jumps in towards Brad, finds the kill with Del Rosario. The backline gonna be taken down, but Dreams finds the same on the Soriano. The pad-up is massive, jumps in, picks up a legendary. It's a 1-for-2. Divine Judgment over the Psychos right now. The pad-up is gonna be able to flicker out. Psychos jumping with Dreams. Now, the pad-up in the midst of it all, gonna be taken down for the decimation. Imam still clearing out the waves, and it feels like Indonesia will still have more pressure to play with around the Lord. Villa Luna looking to play right now, jumping in again, gonna be knocked up. The Lord completely ignored by Indonesia. Here is died by Psychos. The Retribution battle. Del Rosario coming in. Villa Luna with the steal. Still, Philippines are in this game.
They secured the Lord with a steal. Villa Luna saving the game from the brink of defeat. And the Indonesians are once again forced to wait and play around this Lord.
The miracles happening for Philippines. A member down, 2 members down. The Queen is still able to save the Philippines with the evolved Lord take. And now with Soriano, with the pad-up spawning in, they might actually be able to capitalize on the fact.
There's still 5 members available for the Indonesians though, so the Filipinos needs to be very, very careful on how they want to approach this. Dreams already waiting for an opportunity, but look at this kite back, look at this chase!
Immortality gonna be popped in, that's Psychos again, looking for the back line. Soriano gonna be petrified, still able to run away right now, but it's gonna be Soriano who's gonna take him down. Dreams picking up an unstoppable. Del Rosario going back again to save his back line, but Dreams will not fall. It's a 2-0. Indonesia now looking for the end.
48 seconds for Soriano to spawn. This is a disaster, but the Filipinos have shown that they can weather this kind of storm. Indonesia making a play with the mid wave, looking for an opportunity right here. Can the Filipinos clear it out?
Imam spawning back in for the airstrike to clear up the waves. Del Rosario still getting in. Dreams jumping into the back line. Imam still going to be able to dish it out right now. The base is wide open, but there are no minion waves to play with for Indonesia, as Philippines have once again defended.
They're able to clear the wave, and Imam was able to survive from the dive of Dreams. And instead, the Indonesians are now down their roamer for 48 seconds. That is not how they wanted this game to go. In 76 seconds, the next Lord, yet again, will be contested. And we have a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Bali, Indonesia, they're all up on their feet. This is a game to watch. My goodness, Arashi. Let's slow the tempo down. Let's talk about the items, man.
At this point, everyone has items, but the pad-up knows that he is, right at this point, a damage dealer. They do not need to withstand damage. They need to make sure that Dreams, that Brands, the main damage dealers from the side of the Indonesians, get shut down. But look at this.
Oh, Psychos gonna get caught there. His immortality is gonna be down. Dreams is still dead. 60 seconds on the death timers. 24 minutes in. What do Philippines do?
They have a chance to go for the end right here. The waves are not pushing in because the base turrets are still available. But if Villa Luna can get a huge pickoff, there is potential. And it seems like the Filipinos recognize it. They're going for it. But have to be careful about Dreams trying to go for the back door, the flank.
So much poke being dished out. Hijime taking a half HP with Brands and Taz. Philippines, again, waiting for the next mini wave, but it will not be coming in fast. It's still in the base, marching, walking down. Del Rosario in the front still. They're all protecting the back line. Soriano and Imam, these are the 2 winning conditions, but they bought enough time. They've cleared enough waves to look for the Lord now, and that's what they're going to do, rotating over towards that bottom side river.
On the top side, though, the wave is pushing in favor of the Indonesians. So if the Indonesians want to play the long game, they have an advantage, and the Filipinos will be the ones forced to make a move. But look at this maneuver here. The Indonesians are splitting apart.
How do they deal with this right now? The pot-up sent to the base again to clear out the waves. Taz still playing around the Lord. Del Rosario jumping with the shield unity. And it seems like Philippines are looking towards that topside river with Imam opening it up. They've spotted Dreams and Brands, and they have stopped that split push threat from happening.
And they are now clearing the wave in the middle side as well. And it's down to that Lord dance. And in this situation, it does seem like the proactive maneuvers are available for the Indonesians. Can they dive towards that back line? Will the back line, Soriano and Imam, be able to survive from the aggression, because if they do, that is a huge problem for the Indonesians, but that is a massive if.
Even with Flicker, even with Purify, they sometimes still struggle because of the sheer amount of CC and the sheer amount of dive from Indonesia. We'll see how they try to face off against Indonesia here. It's a brilliant feather airstrike by Imam, taking a whole lot of HP from Hijume. And that might just be the little victory that Philippines need to, again, take control of that mid lane to have more pressure around the bottom side Lord pit.
That is the advantage the Filipinos have. Burst damage, but they might have spotted a Malaysian member in the top side here. They make a play for it, and it won't be enough. The Indonesians are still on the board, still waiting for a chance to make a play, but this is macro territory, and the Indonesians, the top wave, is just pushing again and again in their favor, making it such a headache for the Filipinos.
This is the advantage you have when you get that base turret in that top lane. Those side lanes are constantly pushing in. Psychos now, look at the opening right now with the help of Kaz. Gonna be helped with the Divine Judgment. Del Rosario secures the Evolved Lord. Soriano's able to kite back. Flickers out! Dreams and Psychos baited! And that was the pot up who jumps in. Luna soaking a whole lot of damage right now. Soriano backs away. Luna losing the immortality as he's gonna be dove on. He's gonna be taken down. The Evolved Lord traded in for the Roamer.
The Evolved Lord in favor of the Philippines, but 55 seconds on their main utility tool, their main catch opportunity. We saw this in the previous Lord take. Will the Indonesians still be able to outmaneuver, outplay the Filipinos somehow? Imam goes for the Shadow Talisman. He needs a cooldown.
The pot up again, zoning the other members away, going in for that, but getting knocked up. Now is the real world manipulation by Hijume. Going into the back line. Soriano losing immortality, gonna be taken down as well by Dreams. Imam now gonna be targeted by Psychos, who jumps in with the fierce dive, who jumps in with the damage. Imam with the feather airstrike, losing the immortality. Del Rosario needs to help him out, but he can't do it. The winner Truncheon was baited out. Indonesia with a 4-man advantage.
There was alone right here. There's 1 minion he can clear, but the next wave is coming out, Mirko. It seems like it is the end.
On this day, a revolution begun. The monarchs have fallen, and Indonesia have won your Iesf 2022 Mlbb World Champions are Indonesia.
And the crowd explodes. This is a great moment for Indonesia. What a performance, shutting down the dominant team in the Philippines. Wow.
What a stunning performance. A 3-0 up against the Philippines. In the beginning of the tournament, so many doubts, so much hate towards this roster. But they proved the world wrong. This is a new lineup for Indonesia. This young blood, full of talent, full of hunger. And this, out of all the rosters, is the one to be able to defeat the Philippines.
To defeat Blacklist twice, that is an amazing feat, and emotions run high in the Indonesian team. What a moment. But Mirko,
we're going to throw it back to our hosts for the winning ceremony for Iesf 2022 Mlbb. Take it away, hosts.
Once again, give it up to Indonesia!
Yeah! Indonesia finally able to win this match, the grand final of Mobile Legends Bang Bang!
Yay! And please welcome the champion of Mobile Legends Bang Bang!
Indonesia!
Give it up to Indonesia!
Come on guys, come forward! Come forward! Come forward! Everyone come forward! And this is the winner of Mobile Legends Iesf 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022! Give it up, Team Indonesia! Wow! Wow! What a tear-shaking moment right now! Team Indonesia, once again guys, give them a round of applause!
Siapa kita? Siapa kita?
This is your champion, Indonesia! And right now, we are gonna see the MVP for this battle. And the MVP goes to Dreams! Congratulations, Dreams! And also, nice try, nice fight, Team Philippines.
Yeah.
You have done your best, but we have our winner, Team Indonesia!
Now we are going to do the celebration to the winner as my count in 3, 2, 1, raise the trophy!
Wow.
Once again, congratulations to Indonesia,
Indonesia
as the champion of Mobile Legends Bang Bang in Iesf 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2021.
This is Indonesia!
Indo Pride, give some noise!
All right. We're going to have a chit chat.
Yes. Okay,
Streams,
no
streams.
worries.
Bahasa Inggris pas lah. Santai.
Once again, congratulations to Indonesia. And before we do the celebration again, I would like to give some question. But ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to do it in bahasa. Bro, congratulations.
Thank you.
Baris dulu Besti. Ya, boleh ke sana.
Wow.
Nah, jadi jujur Li, kita semua pada tegang setuju? Setuju banget ya Besti? Wow, dan akhirnya kamu menjadi juara nih hari ini. Sebenarnya, ya kan sebelumnya kan memang pernah ketemu Philippines, ya kan. Maksudnya kayak lo sekarang ternyata menjadi pemenang gitu loh. Kira-kira gimana perasaannya dan mungkin apa gitu yang pengen disampaikan untuk semua yang mendukung kalian?
Yang pasti udah pasti seneng karena buat kita semua kan wakili Indonesia ya. Dan pastinya makasih juga buat teman-teman semua yang datang maupun yang nonton online. Udah nge-support kita sampai bisa juara gini. Makasih banget semuanya.
Thank you, they say. They are very proud representing Indonesia and also thank you for those supports and the fans who supporting Indonesia once again.
Ya, congratulations once again. Tapi sebelumnya nih, mungkin ada nggak sih yang pengen lu sampaikan gitu untuk teman-teman atau mungkin keluarga? Karena ini mengharumkan nama bangsa Indonesia, lo setuju nggak?
Anything you guys want to say to the fans, please?
Yang pasti semoga doakan aja e-sport Indonesia ke depannya makin berkembang. Gak cuma dari game Mobile Legends, dari semua game pun. Semoga Indonesia bisa berprestasi di kancah dunia.
Wow! They're able to win in the world stage and they say this is the victory, the best victory.
Right.
And one more time maybe. What do you guys, what the best moment you guys ever had in this tournament?
Yes.
Kalau momen paling ingat yang pasti momen kemenangan kita barusan di Grand Final. Karena mungkin buat kita semua baru pertama kali main di panggung gede, masuk final dan langsung juara. Apalagi wakilin Indo ya. Jadi yang pasti kita itu momen jadi yang gak terlupakan sih buat kita semua.
Okay.
Wow, cool. This is the first time they ever win in this huge stage with a lot of fans right now. And once again, thank you guys and give the round of applause for Indonesia.
Congratulations
Congratulations.
once again.
Makasih semuanya.
Thank you so
Terima
much.
kasih.
You may enter backstage. Thank you so
Yes.
much. And we're gonna close this segment because today is the grand final for the Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Yep. And
And-
once again, I would like to say thank you so much for all of your attention, all of your support, and once again, congratulations to Indonesia! Thank you so much, champion. You may go back to your place and enjoy the victory. But before that, we would like to inform to all of you that you have to
So what?
expand your flag.
Oh, okay. The flag.
Yes,
The flag.
like this.
All right. And once again, your champion, Indonesia. Thank you so much for watching us today. And this is
Yep.
the last match for today battle.
Yes,
So,
but don't forget.
thank you so much. My name is Darius Drew.
And Brenda Kwan, I would like to remind you that at night we are going to do the closing ceremony. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us on ISF 14
14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022.